For those of you that love talking about animals, from Sci News, fossils reveal true color of mosasaurs, ichthyosaurs, and prehistoric turtles. Fossilized skin pigments from an 85 million year old mosasaur, a 193 million year old ichthyosaur, and a 55 million year old leatherback turtle have revealed the skin color of these extinct marine reptiles. And now, for Prehistoric to Present, my name is Ethan. Welcome to Creature Guide Live Prehistoric News. Let's dive right back into the prehistoric news of the day. And considering of the different types of preserved skin, which I'm assuming, okay, they did find, that have been found on different species of dinosaurs and a handful with preserved color, this is astonishing. And considering this is also from a much older article, I have not heard of this with marine reptiles. I didn't realize we had found any pigment. So looks to be we have some relative of today's marine turtles, which the thing is, many people tend to assume when they see prehistoric turtle like creatures from the Mesozoic era, so during the time of the dinosaurs, that they were all turtles. And the truth is, the true turtles didn't start evolving until somewhere around, somewhere between 49 and 70 million years ago. So that's towards at most the last 4 million years of the time of the dinosaurs. And so we have an ichthyosaur, and I'm thinking this is okay, it's a mosasaur. And it's not being specific. That's odd. Previously, paleontologists could only guess what colors huge reptiles such as mosasaurs and ichthyosaurs had. However, pigments preserved in fossilized skin of these prehistoric animals have now revealed that they were at least partially dark colored in life. This feature probably contributed to more efficient thermoregulation as well as provided means for camouflage and protection against the harmful UV radiation. When it comes to the ichthyosaurs, I did forget that we have found preserved pigment of the ichthyosaurs, so the dolphin like prehistoric reptiles. I believe certain ones from late Jurassic Europe that it does look like they would have had a somewhat orca sort of a pigment to them.
I thought you told me they weren't related to the dolphins.
No, they're not. They're not closely related to mammals in general, but they just have certain dolphin-like characteristics. Because when you look at their snout and their dorsal fin, it's at least their dorsal fin's very dolphin-like. Even okay, I'd say their tail is a bit different, but they would have had a different type of locomotion. They wouldn't be as agile as today's dolphins. Definitely didn't have the intelligence, and were probably cold-blooded. However, like certain dolphins today, there is evidence for certain species of ichthyosaurs for them to have contained blubber, which is interesting. So the question is, was that area specifically a bit cooler? Did they have to go through a um not wet and dry seasons, but it's almost like a famine period as well as a plentiful food period like certain whales do today. So that is quite remarkable. So let's keep going. The fossils are composed of skeletal remains in addition to dark skin patches containing masses of micrometer sized oblate bodies. These microbodies were previously interpreted to be the fossilized remains of those bacteria that once contributed to the decomposition and degradation of the carcasses. Oh, so there definitely is a lot going on here, but it's saying there are dark skin patches. So the question is this almost like a Dalmatian dog? And there are just dark patches all over the ichthyosaur's body? At least I think it's talking about the ichthyosaur. Or is it somewhat like maybe orcas today, where instead of like the white patch, it would be a black patch? I'm just guessing.
Is this an ichthyosaur?
This is, I believe this is supposed to represent Platygorinus, or it could just simply be an ichthyosaurus. But anyway, sticking with Platygorinus, this was one of the last ichthyosaur species to evolve. So ichthyosaurs first evolved in the Triassic period, somewhere around 230 million years ago, and then they would mysteriously go extinct about um, 25 million years before the dinosaurs would go extinct on land, as well as the rest of the marine reptiles. But that is odd considering This is 10 million years after the mid Cretaceous event. And um, it's just a massive piece of the marine reptile lineage that all of a sudden disappears.
Maybe they just were upset that they thought the dinosaurs would be getting too much attention.
Um, yeah, I think so too. And the Mosasaurs just put on some glasses and said, let's test that. Anyway, so Platygorinus or Platyrigus was found over in Germany. And this animal, which is quite interesting, it's only reached somewhere around 13 feet in length. And why that's kind of funny is that it belongs to the Ophthalmosaur lineage of Ichthyosaurs. And then you have Ophthalmosaurs. But Ophthalmosaurs existed over in England or in the surrounding waters of England somewhere around 165 million years ago. And this lineage actually was quite a major success story within the Ichthyosaur family. Now, Platyrichus was probably feeding on smaller species of ammonites, so the distant relatives of squid during this time, and as well as different species of marine squid, very distantly related to today's squid. And then probably smaller species of fish. But like most ichthyosaurs, it probably wasn't preying on any large prey items, considering it had a very delicate skull. It just wasn't meant for really inflicting a lot of damage or being able to sustain a lot of pressure from larger prey items. So, ichthyosaurs in general, even the much larger species, were probably quite docile, meaning that they were probably pretty friendly. So, let's see. However, studying the chemical content of these soft tissues, a team of researchers from Europe and the United States was able to show that they are, in fact, remnants of the animal's own colors, and that the bodies are fossilized melanosomes, or pigment containing cellular organelles. Okay. Um, okay, is this just by the ichthyosaur? No, it's just saying the mosasaurs and the ichthyosaurs. Okay, well, that's interesting. So it does look like this is occurring, the dark patches for the mosasaurs as well. Our results really are amazing. The pigment melanin is almost unbelievably stable. Our discovery enables us to make a journey through time and to revisit these ancient reptiles using their own biomolecules. Now we can finally use sophisticated molecular and imaging techniques to learn what these animals looked like and how they lived. So here's a fossil. Well, it does look quite dark if that's the skin. Oh, well, that would match the osteoderms of the mosasaur, which I'm guessing is where the golden colored pictures taking place on. Wow. So it is somewhat like a Dalmatian, but okay, you could say more of maybe an alligator to an extent, but it just has darker patches.
I was trying to figure out where you came up with Dalmatian.
It's the only thing that was coming to my mind. I could think of patches. Um, huh. What do we have here?
It's not a
Oh,
tail.
there's the tail. Okay, I was trying to figure out what I was looking at. Okay, this must be the ichthyosaur. Hey, here's an ammonite.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, am I looking at an ammonite down there?
Actually, there are many ichthyosaur fossils that have been well preserved, and alongside of them, ammonites, sometimes horseshoe crabs, which, by the way, are not closely related to crabs. They're actually more closely related to scorpions and spiders. They're arachnids, fleas too. And then what? Sometimes you have different species of fish that are preserved alongside
I
them.
know. Off subject. A flea's an arachnid?
Yes. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not insects. So let's see. Um, oh, wait, what? Okay, the top picture was the skin fossil of a 55 million year old leatherback turtle. Wow, I really thought it was one of the um maybe even the mosasaur. Okay, that probably makes more sense. And let's see. Center picture was scales from an 85 million year old mosasaur, and then the bottom one tail fin from a 193 million year old ichthyosaur. Yeah, the ichthyosaurs during the early Jurassic, they were doing quite well. Um, Granted, it's also, I mean, about what 40 million years after they first evolved. Let's see, mosasaurs. So existing from somewhere around 98 to 66 million years ago. Okay, this isn't okay. I'm just gonna go forward. A noticeable feature of the living leatherback turtle, Dermichelus coraceae, is that it has an almost entirely black back, which probably contributes to its worldwide distribution. Also, the leatherback sea turtle is the largest turtle to evolve. They can reach somewhere around 1,800 pounds. Let's see. They have a shell length of about 8 to 10 feet. They're pretty large. The agility of leatherback turtles to survive in cold climates has mainly been attributed to their huge size, but it has also been shown that these animals bask at the sea surface during daylight hours. The black color enables them to heat up faster and to reach higher body temperatures than had they instead been lightly colored. Yeah, this is interesting that we're seeing this even with the older species of marine reptile, despite it being quite mild during the late Cretaceous and the mosasaurs were still evolving a darker pigment. You would just think that, well, okay, that would help with probably protection against the more intense UVs, which has also been a question of mine when it comes to the dinosaurs as well. Now, the earlier ichthyosaurs, especially in the early Jurassic, I wouldn't think so much the early Cretaceous ones because the Earth was experiencing a bit of a cooling event during the early Cretaceous, and all of a sudden it rose again.
Give your descriptions of what you're referring to.
You mean like the temperature and the time period?
No, when you're saying Cretaceous,
Oh,
for people that
okay.
don't know this,
Okay, so the Cretaceous period started around 145 million years ago and would end at around 66 million years ago. The cooling event that I am referring to, well, actually, that was much further back. There still were ichthyosaurs, but it was somewhere around 135 to, I'd say 130 to 145 million years ago. Afterwards, you start seeing this increase in temperature. You might have had smaller, somewhat cooling events. You could call them ice ages, but no major glaciers really occurred. Um, you still would have had snowfall and then even to the late Cretaceous. So, somewhere between 120 to 75 million years ago. Now, the early Jurassic was quite warm. So, around 180 to 200 million years ago. And referring to that 190 million-year-old area, when you're in Antarctica, it would simply be a tropical forest, and you would find 20-foot long predators roaming the area. And no, the even the birds hadn't evolved yet, and penguins wouldn't arrive until much later, like into the Miocene epoch. So over just 7 million years ago, maybe. And let's see, it's also back when penguins could reach over 7 feet in height and probably weighs from between 200 to 300 pounds at least.
that would be a scary penguin.
Yeah, I raise it from a chick, if you want to have a bond with it and not go up to the adults because they probably could, peck you to death. Anyway, I just went to penguins. Um, let's take a look at somebody else. So here, this is one of the turtle-like creatures that I was referring to earlier. So this is Cephoderma, which is a member of the Sauropterygidae lineage of reptiles, which technically includes the plesiosaurs, the mosasaurs, nodosaurs, and the specific group of reptiles that belong to the Sauropterygidae lineage would only appear for somewhere around 20 million years. It's very mysterious. They evolved around 230 million years ago, and then around 210 million years ago during the late Triassic. So 230 million years ago was mid Triassic. 210 million years ago, they just disappear. And it's odd. This is still around 9 million years before the Triassic Jurassic boundary, which is around 201 million years ago. And all of a sudden, these creatures disappear. So here they are, yet they are very turtle like. But the lineage that would include today's turtles and tortoises wouldn't evolve until the late Jurassic, so maybe around 150 million years ago. And it's called the Testudinus. And then when it came to closer turtles of today, that's maybe 70 million years ago. So these animals were actually looking at their dental structure, possibly shellfish eaters. So, not necessarily vegetarian like many species of marine turtle today, which tend to mostly feed on different types of seagrass. And also, not you. Some of these animals might have been soft-shelled, like certain soft-shelled turtles of today, but much more robust skulls. And then here we have an ammonite in the corner. So, oh, and this animal probably reached some around 6 feet in length, or maybe reached some around 3 to 400 pounds. And so, let's go back to the article. So no, their lineage would not continue to any other branch of turtle. Oh, actually, I'm gonna go back after I finish this. The fossil leatherback turtle probably had a similar color scheme and lifestyle as does Dermoculus. Similarly, Mosasaurs and Ichthyosaurs, which also had worldwide distributions, may have used their darkly colored skin to heat up quickly between dives. Here's the thing: when you watch animals today, well, specifically the mammals, go up for air and dive, it's immediate. Now, I am referring to warm-blooded animals, and most likely these animals weren't. But I don't know. I think that's a big question. How would they have? Would they have stayed near the surface for a certain period? It wasn't very cold. Now, in certain Antarctic and Arctic regions at different times of Mesozoic, it would have for them. But beyond that, it would be quite warm.
Well, it depends. You mean the top? Because
Yes.
the waters, I mean, you get deep enough no matter what.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Now, certain, especially the ichthyosaurs, maybe the mosasaurs, it doesn't look like they would have dived very far. Maybe reaching a depth of 90 to 150 feet. But besides that, they wouldn't dive too far. Like even if you're looking at certain, I guess an orca is not a good representation, but maybe like the bottlenose dolphin, they can reach over 300 feet. But it's also I'm comparing it with the warm-blooded animals, so that's just not, in my opinion, the best representation. Now, looking at a species of mosasaur, also an older species too. Mosasaurs tend to be talked about in the last 8 million years of the Cretaceous. This is from around 90 million years ago. This is Ankylosaurus, which could reach somewhere around 20 feet in length and probably weigh close to a ton. It is also a member of the Platycarpidae lineage of mosasaurs, meaning that this specific mosasaur would have had a very robust jaw. The larger species of mosasaurs tend to have very well, much less heavily built skull types, which is interesting. So these animals were probably not feeding on very large prey items despite their skull durability, but were probably feeding on robust ammonite species, maybe even certain crustaceans or any heavily armored mollusks, and probably feeding on maybe younger species of plesiosaurs or the long necked marine reptiles. But when it came to durability, their skulls could virtually crush most armored marine organisms. Let's see. This animal is from Angola, Africa, which is northwest of South Africa. Let's see. Something I was missing? Oh, I think I meant to say something about the turtle. Um, it's not hitting me. Okay, well, let me know in the comments what your favorite species of marine reptile is. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. Welcome to This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know, because nothing is better than all animals all the time.